Alright, so welcome to my web app in Go that I managed to do in a couple of days, I guess few days. Yeah, let me show you how it works. Then I'll try to go over the technologies that I used and showcase maybe like what I found maybe useful or maybe annoying about them, stuff like that. Well, I guess the first thing would be that this is how the main page looks like. You always have to click on get started, right? This one redirects you to the authentication, and I guess the only thing that I really find annoying, except the white theme, um, I guess I don't want to do it. Let's try to connect from here. Is that initially I have no idea why, but for the first time you try to log in, the state doesn't get saved for some reason, and you have to do it twice. That's really annoying. I have no idea why that happens, but I mean, you know, it is what it is. Then sure, you can see your profile. This one is it takes it from GitHub, so if you change your name there, it will also update it here. For example, you can also have an API key, and this one can be used to access the API using curl, so you can do the same things you can do from the UI but from curl. If you really want to implement your own, let's say UI for this thing, for example. And then yeah, on the main page you can see the posts that you make, and for the posts you can have only the title, description, and in description you can really write like markdown. So my post, and it will render it as markdown, and for this one I used 0md. I think that's cheat sheet most used files or something, you know. And here you can even have like URLs, right? I think it's this one, it's HTTPS, and obviously course image example. Let's say you can even have like just need like a stock image. Let's see if this one works. Right, so yeah, I mean you can have markdown basically. Click save, then you go on the post, you can edit this one, right, make changes to it. It will also show you the changes. Then you have a search bar, yet right now doesn't do anything because we don't have any files. But if we add some files, for example, let's say select these files and upload them, it will generate it will upload these files, right, and generate some embeddings for them in the background, then store these embeddings in a vector database. For that I used Postgres PG Vector, like the extension for VectorDB. And yeah, we see all these documents, and obviously you can let's say this one like edit them, although for now we only support like text files and markdown files, so not really sure how this will work with, let's say, PDFs and stuff, but yeah. So yeah, you can edit them, you can delete files if you want, you can delete the entire project or post. And then in the search, let's say we have something like this airport, we add by Alex or something, yeah, and for some reason hit oh, that's weird. I thought I updated the airport one. Oh, maybe I put the text here, yeah, whatever. So we can ask it who wrote the documentation for airport. Hopefully it finds it. So yeah, yeah, I didn't really find it, but you know, it generates like an answer, and then it gives you a list of references with the documents that it found useful for this question. Now, sure, I mean, I'm using Llama 2 because I wanted to have everything like open source, but yeah, I guess, I mean, Llama 2 is pretty good. Yeah, I have no idea why it's not always finding the perfect answers, but you know, maybe I'll try to use, say, OpenAI like in parallel to see if it gets different answers, and make like a small benchmark for this use case. But yeah, like this is the main goal of the application. You have this search here, and you put here your list of documents. For example, imagine having like a course, you know, and you add your class notes in the list of documents, and then you can ask questions for that. And I mean, you know, don't use it for cheating on exams, but pretty much that's the point, right? To have like the courses, and obviously when it's gonna support PDF, it's gonna be easier. You can add, or PowerPoint, you can add the slides from the course, and then just ask questions for that. And I mean, maybe even support for images would be interesting, but yeah. So sure, it is able to answer the question. And if you have another post that's completely unrelated to it, yeah, the search only looks at the documents of this post, so it doesn't look at other posts, right? So yeah, and I mean, the author is the only one that can add files, delete files, modify them, things like that. Although yeah, I mean, you know, the user part was more like in the beginning when I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But if yeah, this was the goal for this app, maybe like a CLI would have been better, right? Like running it somehow only for you, not really like a Twitter clone or something. So yeah, I guess for the technologies, obviously I used Go for writing the web app, and I guess some of the things that I liked was the error handling. It's like really obnoxious in a way, I mean in a good way, because it like forces you to check the errors every time you have functions that return errors, so that's good. I mean, in this case I just panicked, but you know, it's the main function and makes sense to do that in main. And yeah, the other stuff, I guess this templating, I haven't really used other forms of templating in other languages, but it's pretty nice that templates are like in the standard library. I mean, decent. And yeah, I mean, you know, the routing is pretty much is the same everywhere, I guess. Nothing really to complain about it. It's interesting how you make this authorized like a router from another router. You're able to add this thing. I mean, again, it looks really similar to other stuff that I'm used to be honest. So yeah. So the routing is not that. Oh, and the migrations, I guess this one was a bit interesting. I haven't really found a way to do automatic migrations, but I used Ban. Maybe other ORMs have that. So for Ban, like I had to write my own migrations, right, in these files. And I mean, it's still nice to be honest, but yeah, I was used to, you know, running migration generate, and that generates the migration for you. So I don't know. Then yeah, for the HTML, I used HTMX. This one doesn't use it, but for example in post, I guess, where do we have an example of HX? Yeah, so for some of these I used HTMX. I guess especially for posting stuff like post form or update something, I used the HX. That's why sometimes when I, let's say, create a new post, you see that weird stuff first. To be honest, I don't know how I can get rid of it, but yeah. But at the same time, like in these cases of creating a post and stuff, I could have easily used just fetch requests. Wasn't really necessary to use HTMX in most cases. I guess, yeah, I don't even know which ones would have benefited from HTMX that much. I guess mainly gets will benefit from HTMX, to be honest. Like posts and stuff, in my case, I think fetch would have been pretty fine. Yeah, I mean, only this search was something that I guess was okay to use, because I was sending this request, right, to search, and the search endpoint is generating an HTML page from a template that is gonna be placed in here, and that's kind of the only part that was, let's say, useful. I guess what the search is down here. So yeah, the API is gonna respond with this page, and yeah, it has the markdown for the response and the list of references. But again, this could have been easily done with JavaScript, so yeah, like just JavaScript requests. So yeah, I mean, don't really see the point of HTMX, to be fair. Like, you can easily do the same thing with JavaScript requests if you really want to use plain HTML like I did. So yeah, I don't really see, I mean, it's really simple, right? That's the point. But you know, you can make it even simpler by just using JavaScript. Yeah, so maybe, I don't know, like maybe using something like Svelte would make your life easier in the long run, and for something that gets a bit bigger. but I guess for the size of the current thing that I have, using just HTML, like plain HTML, is fine. It's still fine. Yeah, I don't think I see a need to switch to a front-end framework, because it's, I mean, small enough to just use this one. So yeah, I mean, I kind of found HTMX pointless in my case. Like, would have been kind of the same without it. So yeah, but still interesting to use for some cases, like when you actually have to return HTML from the front end. That's when it's more useful. When you have to return, like when you make API calls, it's not really that useful. But yeah, when you make requests that expect HTML back, then it's more useful. So maybe it's something to keep in mind. Okay, and then in the web app itself, for the config, I found some library like called cleanenv, which looked really nice. And I mean, I really like this thing in Go where you can add tags on a structure, and you have this, I guess they're by default or something, like in the standard library for configuration, being able to say this is like YAML database and then YAML host, and then just create the config like that, and it's gonna load it even without this external, like third-party thing. It's possible to do it. So yeah, that's even cooler. But I wanted to use it because, yeah, I don't know, it seemed a bit more simpler, but you can do the same thing even with the standard library. So it's this one's pretty neat. Yeah, so the next thing, I used the Gin, obviously, if you saw the routing, for like my routing, obviously. And maybe one thing that I found maybe a bit weird, if we go in, I don't know, the posts, let's say in create, right, was that usually I'm used to having the arguments from the route, from the router function, from the handler, in here, like for example, the post, I'm used to having it here, right, and the backend framework handles this for me, right, it does the binding for me. But yeah, I mean, in Go you have to do it manually. Yeah, I mean, I found this one a bit weird, but yeah, like this is the only complaint that I have about this backend framework, that it isn't able to, or I guess I didn't find it how to do it, or maybe it's like a Go problem. But yeah, you cannot really have these things as arguments and they're done automatically for you. Like, I'm used to the Rust way of doing it, where you can just have them in the handler, and yeah, it's done for you. But maybe it's because of, I don't know, some reason with Go, like all these methods would have been a bit more short if not having to deal with this. But yeah, like other than that, it's yeah, I don't see really an issue. So like, again, like really nice of the error thing. Like if you don't do anything with it, you usually get compiler errors. And yeah, one other thing was, if I have an error that's already defined like this, and then I use only equal because I already have the variable, if I don't check the error here, I don't get compiler error. And this one, yeah, it's another thing that I don't really like, because if I do the same thing, let's say here, doesn't really worry me. But if yeah, like if it's the first time and you don't have an error check, it says that it's unused, right? But if it's like somewhere down here and you don't do the error check, it doesn't complain. Like the compiler is, yeah, fine, you can do whatever. But yeah, maybe it should also find this thing as unused, because it's pretty much unused, right? If you don't do this error check, like instead of checking if the variable that is defined is used, maybe check if the the new value or something is used. So that's the only extra thing here that maybe would have been nicer to catch small bugs like that. But yeah, so I guess on the next thing on the list would be, I don't know, maybe the database itself, which I guess, as I said there, didn't really have a way to generate the tables, but I really like this kind of defining the columns, and it actually works pretty well. Like the columns and stuff are generated correctly based on these tags, so that's good, it's nice. And yeah, like doing the requests gives you, you know, all the extra stuff that you add here at the bottom with relation belongs to and other stuff. So that's also neat. And yeah, like going the next one, let's say the repositories, where I actually did some queries. Yeah, like the query building is also pretty good. Maybe a more complicated one I did in embeddings here is like, you know, like all these functions are pretty decent, and I guess the errors are, you know, quite good for them. If you get errors when you build this, it shows you at compile time that you have errors, so that's good. And yeah, I mean, you know, pretty much basic, like in any other language, query building capabilities, so nothing special. Yeah, I mean, the auth is something that is a bit tricky. I mean, like in anything, authentication is hard, but yeah, for some reason, I mean, these ones are the services for auth, but yeah, I have no idea why. But I mean, I added so much logging, but I've tried a lot of stuff in here, like adding the state, because I used OAuth with GitHub, and in OAuth you have to generate a state when you send the login, like the authorization message, and then in the callback you have to verify the state. So I thought that, well, I can make a session and add the state in the session, then save it. Obviously this is gonna be saved as a cookie, so it's gonna be sent with redirect, I guess, not sure though. It's gonna be sent, then on the GitHub side you click authorize and stuff, and then you get sent back to this callback handler. And I thought this cookie should be the same as you you have here. So if you get the session and read from the cookie, yeah, it doesn't find the thing for some reason. And I mean, I've tried even with simple like set and get and then flashes, yeah, nothing really worked. So I have no idea really why the authentication is like that, like at least for the first like time you click on get started. But yeah, I don't know, I mean, it is what it is. And I guess the last thing is what I used for the LLM, and I used LangChain. This is because I don't know, I was just used to it in Python, and I said let's see if it has a Go version, and it actually has. It's, you know, obviously it's not as featureful as the one in Python, but it still has enough things that makes it good, like for our use case. And I guess the things that we needed was being able to create embeddings. And the embeddings are just the list of floats, right? So yeah, simply pass in the content, get back the embeddings as a list of floats, and you know, save them in the database. I think that's how I did it. Then yeah, obviously when you update a document in this list here, you have to regenerate the embeddings and save the document. And on delete you have to just delete the embeddings. So that was the idea, and this is the worker. Oh yeah, I guess the channels, right? Because I have a channel here which is read-only channel of document channel item, and in here I range over this channel, so I continuously read, right? This is how this works. And when I read a create message, I do create, update, or delete, right? That's the idea. And in main Go, where do I have the channel? I create a simple channel here, right? 128 slots, I guess. And then I start that worker that you just saw. And I guess the channel is used in the embeddings service. I guess where is it used? I guess in documents controller. And here I have a write-only channel, right, in documents. And basically when I add a new document via the upload, right, of the documents, you know, I do some open, read the binary data, save the document as binary data in the database, you know, stuff like that, because I thought that it's better to save it as binary, since, you know, if you have doc files or PDF files, I was thinking like, okay, let's save the data as binary, and if it happens that we change our parser for some reason, like make some changes on it, we still have the original data. So if the parsing changes, like, I don't know, we figure out a way to support getting images from a PDF or getting more text, because for some reason the parser was broken, or I don't know, because right now, well, I'll show you how I parse the file, but yeah, we just send a new document channel item, so create, we send identifiers for the document so that we know in the worker how to find the said document. So like, okay, we got a create message, and we know that this is the document from the database. So like we don't really send the binary. I don't know if it's more efficient like this, but I thought that, and let's not send too much data through the channel. I don't know if it makes sense, but I could have just sent, you know, the content directly. But I guess it still makes sense to send the ID, because we want to have a relationship of one-to-one between the document and the embedding, and use the ID for the join. So that was the main reason. Then for the, let's say this is get search result, right? So get search result gives the query, and I guess the query has the text that you ask and the limit, and the limit is just how many documents we want to find, because you know, you can have all documents, but what's the point of the embeddings then, right? Like the embeddings should be able to give us only the similar documents, right? And we put a limit on that because we want only the top 3 or top 5, depending on how many you want, right? And yeah, I get similar embeddings. For this one I used the cosine distance, and this is made available from the pgvector extension. So that's what makes us able to insert the vector column and stuff. So yeah, afterwards we just get all the documents that are similar, right? And we build a prompt with those documents. Yeah, I mean, then we just call the LLM like to generate the response. I guess that's why I'm saying that you know, I just wanted to find the original interface for LLMs, because it has only call. I think that's it. Like the original interface doesn't really have generate embeddings, and that's a bit of a bummer. But like only certain models, for example, Ollama has generate embeddings, right? And I mean a few others also have generate embeddings, but not all of them. So that's a bit of a bummer with LangChain Go. But yeah, that's how we used LangChain, and I guess that's pretty much all when it comes to what I used, right? I mean, the other thing that I would use was, you know, Postgres, but talked about it somehow. And yeah, maybe Tailwind, but Tailwind is Tailwind. Like, to be honest, from what I was like remembering, it was a bit better. For some reason, it's really hard to find examples now. I have no idea why, but I feel like, you know, I remember that it was much easier to find examples for Tailwind, but now it's like, oh, you want to learn UI? Dude, shut the fuck up, just give me the classes. Like, so weird about it. Yeah, so I guess those are all the things about the web app. I mean, I still have a few things that I wanted to do. Like, for example, when you create a post, I wanted to redirect right on the post itself, not on the main page. Another thing would be, well, if you have a document here and you want to create like a link to it, to add something like apk.txt in here, right, to make a reference to it. Currently obviously doesn't work, but like, you know, let's say pandas python is the first thing that came to mind. I wanted to see the documentation for something, like anything. Right, I was pretty sure it has, oh my god, data frame docs. I guess it doesn't have, I was lied. Well, I mean, you know, like in markdown files where you have titles, yeah, like this, but I was hoping to have more on the page, but it adds you this tag here. I guess, you know, the best option is just, let's go in the main file of this thing, and yeah, stuff like this where you add the line and it, you know, keeps it in the URL, but making it for the documents somehow, don't know yet. Yeah, the other thing was when we have the answer, who wrote the documentation, come on, never found it, but yeah, when you click on these documents, maybe send you down to them, because it's a bit hard to manually search for them. So it's another thing. The next thing would be being able to click on the title to search, to hide the description, and maybe have all the documents hidden by default, like the content, and only when you click on the title it shows you the content. But and the other thing would be, see, when I click on this thing it doesn't initially show it, but if I edit it then it shows it. So that's the other thing, like a small bug. Yeah, I said this one. And the other thing would be not showing the settings when you are not the owner, because I'm hiding the delete button, but I'm still keeping this, although you cannot upload files if you are not the author. So, and maybe a streaming endpoint for the text generation, but thing is I'm not sure. So this would be in embeddings. This would be in embeddings, and usually if you know how ChatGPT generates you this LLM dot generate content, like I'm not sure. Like if you have some sort of, say, you know, way of, I don't know, streaming, but like this is a, you know, might require big changes, like for example doing a Python part just for the LLM stuff, and then linking our web app with that via WebSockets or something. But you know, I don't really feel like doing that, so we'll see. Like I guess it's not possible to do it in LangChain Go, so we'll leave it out. But you know, would be nice because you don't have to wait for the entire thing to be generated. You'd be able to see it bit by bit. But you know, that's extra. So yeah, let's try to do some of these things now. So yeah, basically the first one is when we do create, I guess this thing, right, when we make the request for post create form. So like, this is interesting because don't even know if it's possible. Like this thing is gonna for sure give us back the so like in this case, for example, I'd rather make the request using just fetch, right? And that way we would get back the ID and be able to say okay, redirect there. So oh yeah, that's the problem with HTMX. I don't know how I can use it to redirect, right? So this is kind of useless to have HTMX on an API endpoint. So I guess what's another place where I used fetch? Is in here. So here I did an event listener on the form, right? When you have submit. So I mean, you know, let's choose that. So it should come below. Okay. So yeah, let's say we have a document create form, document create form, or it's post. Sorry, it's post. Right, when we do submit, and let's let post create form is gonna be document. What the fuck did I do? Element by ID. You know what? I mean, having Copilot for this thing is nice. So post create form, that's the ID. Alright, so we have it, and when we have a submit on it, we want to prevent default, whatever, then we need to make a post request at API posts. In the headers, what do we want to put? We want to put JSON because it's gonna be JSON, and we need to make the body of the request, and afterwards when we have the response we'll do some more stuff, but for now it's fine. So let's try to build the body. Right, and I guess the body should have a post name and post description. I don't remember which were. Okay, so name, right, but I actually need the ID, so post description and post name. So we'll have a text input and text area input. So let's say let text input post name, and let text area input. Well, I guess let's say text name and text description. So we have that. Then we just take the thing, and then we say let body is gonna be I might as well just condense this down to just a single statement. And we put the body in here. So yeah, as I said, for API calls I think HTMX is overkill, so not really needed. But yeah, we have the form, then whatever, we do this thing, we have the description and stuff. We have a cancel button, which just brings you back to home. We no longer have this HTMX after request, right? So what we actually want to do here is, if response is okay, then response dot do we have JSON, and then we want to bring us to posts plus data ID thing. So I think this is how we can actually do it. Let's refresh, and now if we create a new post, undefined, console.log data, that's because it's slug, but let's still console log it. Oh, so let's create a new post. Yeah, and now it brings us to the post. So perfect, right? We managed to fix that. And yeah, as I said, I think that HTMX is good when you want to return HTML, but it's not that good when you want to handle like API endpoints. So it's not that bad that we remove it. So fix move to the post and create it, right? So something like this. Let's go on the to-do list, make references on documents. Yeah, this one is gonna be interesting. So we'll keep this, hide the content of the document by default. So this one, we should check the post HTML. And let's see. So this is the document view. Right, and we have two big things. We have the document file name. Okay, so what I would do is pull out this document file name from here. So like the document file name is always shown, let's say, regardless if you click on the text or not. And now if I click on the title, it should do something else. Maybe I also want some padding between them. So let's add a div here, right? A div around all of this stuff, right? So all of this is gonna be contained in a div, I think. Let's see if that looks right. Yeah, still looks good. And I would say class is equal to, no idea. Oh my god. Oh, I already had that. Okay, anyway, so just to have some extra padding between the title and so you don't misclick, right? That I think makes it a bit nicer. not sure about the delete button. Should it be with a title or should it be with a body? Like, you'll see what I mean. So if I have here class hidden, right, we'll see just this. Do we want to have the delete button with a title or with a body? I guess it makes more sense to have 2 clicks to delete rather than just one. So you click on the body and then click on delete, right? Yeah, I think makes sense. So let's add an ID for the document file name. So ID is gonna be document file name h3, I don't know. This is gonna be let's say document view div. So we have the entire thing for editing. How about adding another thing for document file name h3 document view div, right? And let's say document file name h3, add even listener, right? Can we toggle? Like, this is a good question. I was hoping there is something like toggle, or at least checking if hidden is in the list of classes, but yeah, let's see. So if I click on the, obviously there's no such thing as toggle or what. Pretty sure that's a lie. Okay, so it finds the clip, but toggle is not a thing. Oh, another thing would be we actually need to add the ID on that. So let's, instead of this, let's put the document ID. How about that? Right, so oh, and I have to, yeah. I have to do stupid shit like this. Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is. This is because we are gonna have multiple titles and stuff, so we need this stuff. Alright, and I also have to change this thing here and also initialize, so let file name and let document view. Let's see if this changes anything. Okay, it actually changes it. So toggle is actually a thing. Copilot was right after all. So let's make it hidden by default. Right, and now if we click on the thing, it actually shows us the thing. I mean, that's pretty neat in my opinion. Makes this a bit more readable. You know, what if we make here a question like how to use AWK? What if we expand? Isn't even here. So I mean, yeah, I know. What if we expand these ones when you look for the thing? So this one apt get and AWS, right? I don't know. I still think like having sticky stuff is better. So let's go back to to-do list. So we hide the content by default, right? Feature hide content of documents, something like that. Yeah, when I click on edit for this thing, I want to see the initial description. So this is still on the post page. I think that should be done. Post description preview. So here is like when I first input, but I think it should be also done here like this, right? So if I refresh, description text area value. Let's see, I guess I need the description, not really text area, but the description, the post description markdown. Did I post description markdown? I have it, right? So since I have it, I should actually be able to move this stuff. Let's say, yeah. Damn it. Okay, no, let's keep it here. This one, let's not move it because maybe this thing is actually needed somewhere. No, but this one I'm pretty sure it's needed. Yeah. Wait, but I do that when I click. Oh, yeah, I have to do for both of them. For description preview. So when I click, yeah, no, it just moves it. So that's the fix, funnily enough. So yeah, fix preview of doc. Alright, so the next thing, what's next? Maybe minimize description if click on title. Okay, I mean, fair enough, makes sense, post HTML. So I was thinking that if I click on the title, on this one, post name, let's say it minimizes this div, right? The post it's basically this thing but for post, and since we have only one post, we don't even have to worry about it. So it's post name. Okay, post name is gonna be post name, post description, and I guess post name dot post description. Okay, yeah, guess it made sense even for Copilot. So yeah, you can hide the description maybe if you find it annoying. Okay, let's see. Feature hide description of post, right? And don't show settings if not owner. That's pretty easy fix to do. I guess, where's the settings? Settings is here. So right now I have an if only for this, but I think I want to move the if here, or I guess even better would be here, like not showing the div entirely, right? Because yeah, sure, you don't want to be able to see the delete button. It's not gonna work anyways if you're not the owner, so if you're not the author, it's not gonna work. And even upload is not gonna work, so what's the point of seeing upload if you cannot use it? I was thinking maybe have like suggest document and the owner can review it, but that's way too complicated. And yeah, there's no point in seeing the settings if you don't have settings. So I guess I don't know how we can test this one, but I don't have multiple GitHub users, so maybe I'll add like guest user, but guests cannot do anything or something like that. You cannot create posts unless you are a GitHub user. Yeah, like maybe it makes sense, right, to have a guest user or something like that. I'll have to think how we can do it, because yeah, like guest cannot really be able, shouldn't really be able to do anything special. Yeah, like maybe you're only able to search, and that's that. So yeah, we'll see. But again, you shouldn't be able to modify this stuff, modify descriptions. I think I check if you're the owner when I do that. Oh, am I right? I think I check it. So, right, if you try to update the post, you have to be at least authenticated and the author. So yeah, I do check that. Good. So let's see, don't show settings if not owner. No, I mean, don't test it, but show settings for non-owner. I really trust that if it compiles, it works. Strategy, go build. No, I mean it's Go. If it compiles, it works. Yeah, so streaming is not really a thing. So add guest user, that's a thing that I want to do. So I guess let's see if it's possible to do it really easily, the guest user. like guest user, I want only to bypass authentication. Basically I just want to bypass authentication, and say I don't want to have an entry in the database. That's one thing, right? Maybe auth login should give you an option of what you want instead of forcing you to do maybe I'll have like a login page instead of auth login, and if you choose GitHub, then you go to auth login, and if you choose guest, you go to the guest freaking page. So yeah, maybe this, right? Let's see if I have okay, so I don't really redirect. So for example, if you go to localhost 8080 from a private page, page not found, perfect. So let's make that page. So actually make the login.html page, and in main we have to register it. So it's gonna be in the view controller. Obviously you cannot be authenticated to do login, so we use the normal router, and this should be get login page. Alright, so it's gonna be the same thing as index, basically get login page. And another thing I like about Go is this interface, which in Rust it's more like a trait, right? And you have the structure itself. Pretty neat. And I mean, it's really similar to C in a way. And in C usually you have the function, right? Then the first argument is the structure for that function, and then the rest of the arguments and whatnot. And I mean, it's the same thing in Go, except that you put the name of the structure like this instead of the usual. So let's take get login page, let's search for get index, and yeah, we just need to replace this and this. That's the only thing we need to do for login. And I guess, let's see, so login, let's go to templates, let's steal the index, login page. Yeah, so let's see if Copilot can do something nice. Okay, login with GitHub should redirect to /auth. You know, makes sense to have like something with GitHub, but and then login unknown mostly redirects to home. Maybe I actually need to do something else. need to have another endpoint for authentication as anonymously. Or I guess this could be like GitHub and anonymous, maybe. Let's see if now this thing does it. Okay, Copilot, please do some more stuff. Still waiting. I mean, probably it's like another ref for anonymous. And yeah, so let's go in the main page, right? And we have auth login. And yeah, as I was saying, maybe you have GitHub and anonymous, right? And whatever. Well, maybe the other thing that I can do is just to keep things as they were before, like this. And yeah, like not support anything other than GitHub for authentication. Fuck, anonymous set context, right? So how are we gonna do the anonymous thingy thing? Let's see. Well, we don't need a state, don't need to save it. Right. We actually need more stuff from callback though. Right, we need to save some user ID in session, otherwise it's not gonna work, right? So okay, I mean, we need the session, the default session, but like we need to save some kind of user ID. And I guess callback was creating the user, right? Create or update. So my idea is, should we just create like a default user each time you log in like that? It's an idea, definitely. So but I'll want a way to delete this kind of users. So let's say we create or update, right? And this thing gets in a GitHub user. Right, and this is the part that kind of sucks. So create temporary or something, create anonymous. Right, and I don't want to give it anything. So create anonymous user. create anonymous user, and I don't really want any arguments. I just want back a user. So let's take this thing. It's just a, and I want to add some kind of extra field to be able to delete all the temporary users every once in a while. So we just have to create a new user. And yeah, apparently we can have GitHub username as null. Let's see when use the repositories for user, and we have this get user by login. So in create or update, so it's not gonna affect it. That's good. I mean, it makes sense only here. Right, so that's mainly because we know it's a GitHub user. Can we have a null unique kind of column? No idea. Yeah, this is the only thing that I have no idea how to fix though, like GitHub username. Because like it can be null if it's anonymous user, but it should be unique, like if it is GitHub user. I mean, we can have some kind of, it's like the username, and generate some a random string using the current timestamp. Yeah, whatever, maybe something like that. And I'd also add like is anonymous. Does it make sense? PostgreSQL null unique column. Oh, we can actually have that. Can we? Like, makes sense to have unique but nullable. Say something like this. Like GitHub username can be null because we can have anonymous users, and that way we know which users are anonymous. And again, this would be more like the username rather than really GitHub username. Whatever, like login. Sure, why not? Okay, that means let's remove the database first. Let's init and migrate. so that we have a clean state. So yeah, this way we can actually just create, like the name could be anonymous, and that's it. Func new anonymous user. We'll give it the name. Let's see. Let's see what the fuck this thing generated. What the actual fuck? I mean, maybe it just new for some reason. No, I'll just leave it. Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? So this is the anonymous user. New anonymous user. Right? So this creates us an anonymous user. It's in the database, it has an ID, so I don't really see an issue with it. Right, it saves the user ID key, so everything should be good with the anonymous user. Again, I think I don't want to allow anonymous users though to create posts and do stuff like that, because they are gonna be deleted. So let's go here. If I go and get started, no, I just want to go on the main page, right? Hard refresh it, so we lose the cookies, I guess. Let's go and log in anonymously, and it gives us, like, you can do an API key and stuff, you can create posts, so that's okay. So let's log in with GitHub. Again, I have no idea why. Right, it makes me like this user. Hopefully I can have two separate browsers, right, with different, oh my god, but I want different logins, please. Oh my god, login. I want different logins. Key violates unique constraint. Insert. So GitHub username is an empty string. That's interesting. So type varchar. How do you say it's nullable? Ban Golang nullable. Is there? Okay, let me just move that. Nulls. So okay, we have to use pointers. So I mean, makes sense, right? And how can we set Like, do I have, let's see if this thing still compiles. Okay, so it doesn't care. Okay, let's hope that this is just a model thing and not database thing. So let me just bring back, wait, what? Okay, let's switch this around, bruh, please. Okay, so if I go on this page and try to get started, fuck, and I do login anonymously, right now it works. It means that it put null in the, let's try again just to confirm. Okay, so null is not unique. So let's redo the my sheet files, https sheet.sh. I don't have the image anymore, so oh my god, I have okay, let's log in with GitHub, right? And let's see, right? I cannot change anything. Oh, I can change the description though, but it's not gonna let me because I'm not authorized. So maybe this is also another thing. You shouldn't be able to click that. Now let's open up a private page to be able to log in as anonymous. He is different, like I guess he anonymous is different than the one who created the page, so that's why I don't really want to allow anonymous users to create pages, because you cannot delete them. But let's do another post. Real sheet the real sheet.sh. Right, I can delete it, this guy cannot. Right, then now I can add files, this guy can only see them, you cannot delete them. I mean, you still have the, but yeah, you cannot do accept. So this is also something I have to think. You cannot click on this if you are not the user, like not even allow you to see this thing basically. But yeah, you can still what is APK, you can still do searches. So that's my my idea, like you can still search, but you cannot, you shouldn't really be able to create posts as an anonymous user, and you shouldn't be able to see this stuff if you're not the right user. I mean, it's not gonna work changing them, but it's yeah. So let's see. I guess we added anonymous authentication in this one. Feature add unknown, add like guest user. But we want to disable some stuff. So for example, in models for a user function, this is one thing that we can do. but the best way of doing it is if GitHub username is null. Right, this is the best way to figure out if it's anonymous. So let's see. What else can we have here? So obviously it makes sense to keep the documents as they are, so you can get documents as any user. Basically you can get all the documents as any user. You can create documents if you are the owner, and in this case, since anonymous users cannot be owners, then no need to check that. Then update has the same logic, and delete has the same logic. So if you are not owner, I mean if you are owner for some reason, you can do stuff on them. So for post, you can get any post as any user, get all the posts, create post. Now we have the user ID. Let's actually documents controllers. Let's actually take the user. Oh, I mean, this is gonna be post repo. Posts repo. And I think I also want users repo. Just because we want to do that check with, like in create post. Sure, whatever parse, no, not really. User and error, we try to get the user. If error is null, then user not found. If user is anonymous, then you are unauthorized to create. Right, so this changed the logic. So now if we try to create a post, excuse me, excuse you, mister. Slog info. What the actual fuck? Compiler error, right? Yeah, I forgot about the compiler error. So in main.go, I have to add here the users repository. Yeah, another thing like about Air, it's really nice, but I would like for it to show the compiler error better, like shows you, I don't know. So this one we can delete it, and let's do another post so it doesn't let us, because it's nil. Right, so yeah, we don't really, I mean I'll add logging sometime in this one, but yeah. So this one is basically don't allow anonymous users to create. Bruh, someone's getting upset. So if fix unknown users shouldn't create posts. That's a you know, like, bro, you have to use a real account if you want to create posts, basically. So that's one thing. The other thing that I said was you shouldn't really be able to even see edits or this button. So let's go ahead and see how we can do that. So, inside of templates we have this nav bar, right? And we have this button of new post, right? And in here we can say something like if user dot is anonymous. Okay, let's do it like this, see if it works, and we'll switch it around afterwards. So this one should see it, this one doesn't see it, right? And do we have a not? Jesus, we have not. That's insane. So you can't even see the button because it's not gonna work, right? It's not gonna work, so you can't see the button. Maybe we can have different styling, like it's disabled if you are not authenticated, just to show that, well, the option exists but you cannot access it. The only issue is that this is a href, not really a button. Do we have disabled? Not really. So maybe HTML disabled href. Oh, disabled. Tailwind. Yeah, I don't know. Like, would be nice, right, if it was a button. Well, let's try to make it a button or something. So it's gonna be a button, right? And let's give it an ID, new post button, and then we can have some JavaScript somewhere like here. So new post button, let's say window location is gonna be create. I have no idea why you want to use this kind of quotes, like the pussy mouth quotes. Okay, so we changed it to being a button, right? So can the button be disabled? Disabled. Not really. So Tailwind disabled button. Can have disabled. Cursor not allowed. It's interesting. An interesting class, I might say. And you can still click it. 3D. but I don't want to be able to click it. This one's annoying. I'll just make it disabled. Okay, so I can have disabled. Okay, so you cannot click it, right? I mean, cursor not allowed, whatever, who cares? If you cannot click it. Yeah, I mean, maybe having different stylings would make sense. So, let's see. I would say if user is anonymous, we do something else, we do something else. And in this case, we keep the button as it is. And in the other case, we make the button ugly, disabled. Alright, so this stays as it is. You can click on it. But if you are anonymous, then it's like this. Can we also have some better styling on it? Looks nice, right? I mean, it's exactly what we need. Right? Yes. Don't allow guests to even click the create. I mean, you can still go to what's the page? It's create, right? But it's not gonna work. So at least we have that. But you know, intuitively you cannot go to new post. Imagine if that was like a vulnerability, being able to bypass it and then create it. Yeah, that's why you have to do the checks on the back end, and the front end is just, you know, to make things, I guess, understandable to the user, not necessarily have logic that does something important. So this is just, oh, this means I cannot create posts, maybe because I'm guest. Oh yeah. Okay, let's see what's on the next checklist. Is not being able to click on posts. So now, like, this one is gonna be interesting. Like this, you know, you don't even see the button, so don't care. But like this, whatever, I don't care about it. Right, if you write in the description. But what I do care about though is this thing happening. So how can we not do this one? Is it possible to do something like, if user that is anonymous? I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest. Thing is, we can do multiple scripts. So let's see how we can split it. So delete button is part of HTMX after request, whatever. So these are part of the main user. So a simple user shouldn't be able to do this, like anonymous user. Post description, preview and text area. This is what this is, editing the text area, so we don't care about it. Can be in the if. Then we have the switcheroo between view and edit. This should be also in the if. Then we have discard, can be in the if, I don't care. HTML trigger, this can be in the if. And this one shouldn't be, because this is hiding the description, so this can go in a separate script, right? Can be a different script, and here we are going to have an end. So here this should be if user dot is anonymous, if not. So that means that if I click on this, nothing happens, but if I post description view, oh, I guess this is a small bug. Post description, right? So hiding the description still works, but changing, like clicking to change doesn't, and that works for me, and also works to change it, right? And again, like changing should actually be just a fetch, but I'll see. I have to see, because like nothing from this page really requires HTMX. I mean, I was trying to use it just for the sake of using it, but now I can see that some stuff doesn't really need the HTMX. Alright, so the next thing is this part, which again should be done by anyone because it's the document view. So let's put it in a separate script, right? And this one should be if not is, and the question is, we don't have, well, if it's if is author, well, maybe it make more sense to show only if is author, right? Where's the end of the script? Okay, here. So if it's the author, then you can see this kind of stuff, right? So you can click on this, you can see the delete button, but that's like from somewhere here. But if you are the author, you can actually accept. If you are simple user, you cannot click on this. Or I guess no one but the author can do that. And it actually maybe makes sense that this should also be post author, right? Like if it's the, oh my god, like if it's the author of this post, then you can edit this, right? But if you're not the author, then you cannot edit. Maybe it makes more sense like this. For posts and documents specifically. Like if you are the author, then you can see the editing. Like again, the check for the update is done on the server anyways, so this is just to not give false hopes. So yeah, this is everything you can see as a guest or as a different user. So I guess the difference is, as guest you cannot even create posts. As a different user you should be able to create posts, but you shouldn't be able to change this or this. So yeah, I think it's good. I think I'm happy with this guest user. Yes, so other than that, creating API keys, it's like fine, you can generate an API key, but cannot really do that much with it. Maybe this thing can be somehow replaced. And like here, like if the GitHub username, then we show it, right? Maybe, yeah. Like if it has a value, then you show it, otherwise you don't, because not the real user. So yeah, I think yeah, like we should allow them to use API keys, because it's gonna do what? It's gonna let you get posts. You won't be able to post, put, or delete. I guess you can delete and put, but you cannot post, so you don't have anything to delete. And then on documents, again, you can post, put, delete, but you don't have a post. Like you cannot add documents to something, so again, useless. Then you can search, which we should let search be available. Get user. Sure, I mean, you can get your own user, you can get more tokens, get the pages, and log out. So I think this should be enough for the anonymous users, right? Not allow users that are not author to see update view. Right, so yeah, makes sense to me. I mean, it's starting to be a bit nicer as an app. Sure, this one was created before we added the checks, so yeah, I don't know if we have anything else interesting that we can do. Like again, maybe so in create we changed to fetch because there was no point in using HTMX. Let's see, do we still have HX? We don't. Interesting. Here we don't even use HX in get in home page because it's too simple. Or I guess not necessarily simple, but it's just the main page. Login, just remove the comments. Yeah, I don't like the login page, but it is what it is. I would like to have a login page like, you know, the ones that all look the same. That's what I would like. So hx. This one has some hx, right? Again, search is the only one that makes sense, in my opinion, to use hx. So yeah, I would really like to switch this stuff. So inside of this script, which I guess is made for the author, doesn't really matter. Let's take the form. Right, and let's do let post description update form. Let's get it, and on submit, right, it should try to get the description text area, which I guess we already have the element for that. And then we make a put request with that thing. And question is, do we really want to reload? Post description update. Let's see, so let's remove the reload from here. And let's remove all the hx stuff. Right, so now it's no longer under hx, I think. Yeah, it's no longer htmx related. So if I don't do anything in the then, I want it to upload. Okay. Wait, what? Oh my god. For some reason I cannot update the but I mean I'm the author, so what the actual post description, edit and view. So if I click it, let's do console log. Now let's move this one. What? It was literally working. Oh, it's like a function. Yeah. Oh no, why can I guess it made, okay, it made the request. Oh no. Funny. It made the request, but it has to do some, I guess it has to do the reload. Okay, fair enough, it has to do the reload. Right, or maybe it should, let's move it at the bottom, so we have all the other elements. Right, and here the text can be taken from the element, and here I would say post description view, we have to do the reverse. So I would say post description view is remove and add. So if we delete this and click accept, it's not being refreshed though. So yeah, I guess window location reload is better. Right, probably. Because I don't know how to do it otherwise. Like how to refresh the element. That would be interesting. Okay, so the next one is file upload, but I don't like that. So let's delete post. Delete post button. So let's, it's not even a button, it's an A. It's a freaking A. So let's place it here as a comment. So we are gonna have let delete post button and then delete post button on click. Nah, bro. Oh, this is interesting. See, because it has this post slug, right? Like we cannot really do. Oh, but this, what the fuck, that worked. Okay, I mean, if it works, right? I was like, whoa, that worked though. So literally what? So it tries this, post, delete, no headers, and it moves us to home. Delete post button. So in my opinion, this can become a button then. Right? And that's not needed. And you know, I'll first do the document delete and then I'll delete the entire post. Okay, so delete document button. So let's copy paste this one. Right, so let's delete this one is gonna go up there because it's let delete documents, document button, and it's gonna be like a list, right? Because it has different IDs, I guess. Right, so it has minus document ID, and I guess it's gonna come here, right? So delete something is gonna be this button, and I'm gonna do something like this for the button, right? So let's see if that actually solves anything. So right now we refresh the page, it's getting deleted as spell, so it's deleting them. So delete requests. Maybe the last thing is file upload form. File upload form. Let's see, because this one on change it triggers it for something, I don't know. So let's see how we can do this one without HTMX. Because that would be nice. File upload form, then on submit, right? Want to create form data. Just like that, I guess. I don't know. Post it. Window reload. And this one was on change. Which is interesting. Post file input. So let's see how we can have that, right? That post file input is gonna be this, and we can just call to submit. Yeah, I was thinking probably that. File input, just like that. So we don't even need HTMX, right? For file upload. Let's see. So we choose some stuff. It's not here. So no upload though. Fuck. Console log. Let's see if it's actually getting called or something. Fuck. Oh, I'm still printing that. No, it's not getting. Where is it? Let's not reload, just so we are able to see. No, it's still reloading. What? Well, I guess I guess the thing is we don't even care about file upload form. Honestly, maybe the only thing is, do we actually get the form? File upload. So like we should have something called file, right? Because that's the post file input. Let's see. So we refresh the page and we try to upload this. Okay. So now it actually uploaded the file, and if we refresh it's there. Okay, so then let's leave it refresh and let's remove that. Okay, so now if we refresh the page, let's delete cargo. Let's try to add some files, edit them. We can delete. How to use curl, actually generated, not security error. I guess I don't care about what the fuck that is. Prism.js, do I? Oh, it's something from GitHub. Nah, bro, like what the fuck is that? No idea. Anyway, but yeah, can still do this kind of flashbang. And this guy cannot delete stuff, can only see the contents, and how to use apt. Let's ask another question. And yeah, fair enough. So we actually just removed HTMX from the post because yeah, honestly, like not really required, right? At least here. So do we still have any HX? We have for post search, because I said that this one actually returns HTML, so it makes sense to use it here. But for delete document button, this can be discarded. Delete document button. Oh, yeah, let's remove it. Just in case. And let's see if it still works to delete documents. That's funny. It's, did you want to update document? No, just delete it. Okay, so yeah, at this point we use HTMX just for the search. Yeah, I guess in the future, you know, now we know. HTMX is good only when you return HTML code. When you do posts and API calls, just use fetch. Oh, that's the thing with post. This thing doesn't use HTMX. And finally, this one for bearer, I'll leave it with HTMX because it's just a string, and you know, it's a good example of using HTMX, I guess. but then logout might as well just be in a script, right? So let logout button, and we don't care about, well, then just move us to home. So yeah, save like this. So now if we go here, let's refresh it and click logout, it still works basically. So yeah, factors htmx. Okay, I mean, you know, pretty good app. Let's just fmt it. Oh, another thing that I found extremely weird about Go was the usage of tabs. But, you know, if the language wants tabs, usually I like to use the standard of a language, not my own stuff. So if it wants to use tabs, then use tabs, obviously. Where's the to do? Yeah, I mean, I still wanted to add this, but whatever. And streaming, I don't think is possible with Go. So yeah, we'll see if we want to add streaming with like a Python thing, but not sure if it's really required. Like, I feel like this is enough. So yeah, I guess now it's a pretty decent app. Yeah, I mean, you know, it does what it's required to do, but sure, would be nice to have this, but you know, this is like, you already know that I intend to add it, so I might as well just do it myself. The only thing is this, I don't know if it's worth adding, like how to use JQ, like, is it worth having text popping up before you see the entire text? I mean, yeah, usually, but I mean, pretty good app, I would say. We also have anonymous users that can, basically they only have read access. I mean, in general, non-author users have only read access on a post, but they at least can create posts. Guests cannot even create posts, so they are truly read-only users. So yeah, I mean, maybe except if you manage to, for some reason, create a post with an anonymous user, that's a good CTF, let's say. So yeah, I mean, and finally delete the post, still works. So yeah, I guess we managed to add pretty much everything that even more stuff than I was hoping in. The only thing that we don't have yet is this references, right? Like make the documents names clickable somehow. But that's, you know, something that's like nice to have, not important. like the main feature is the search, right? And the main feature of this thing is the search itself. So yeah, well, I guess, you know, that's pretty much all for today. So we'll see in the next one. Again, I'm not sure. Hopefully, I guess I'm done with this app. So we'll see what's gonna be next. So see you in the next one.